What we can expect to find next in a piece of music in sonata form is this thing known as a development section. And for me, it's the development section which is the most exciting part of a sonata form piece, because it really makes it stand out from just a piece where you have some nice melodies. There are lots of pieces that have a nice tune, but really in a sonata form, it's in this development section that a composer gets the chance to really play around, develop and transform those melodic ideas that we were introduced to in the opening exposition section. And it's really a test of the composer's skill as to how well they can make those melodies, their subject melodies, transform, twist and turn in front of our eyes. Now you'll have to go out and listen to as many different sonata form pieces as you can to just see all the different ways that composers treat and develop their melodies in this middle section of a sonata form movement. And while there are lots of techniques for doing this, the way that the development section will start is often very similar. So don't forget that at the end of our exposition section, the opening of the piece, we'll have had our first subject melody and our second subject melody. And those tend to be in related keys. Now I said that, say we had a piece that was in C major, we could expect our second subject to be in a related key, and in this example, let's say it was in the dominant key. So our exposition section is going to finish in a key that is different to the key that we started in. This is our double bar, so this is where the exposition ends. And then we go in something else. So the first thing we've got to do is realize that our development section isn't starting at home, if you like. We've already moved away from home over the course of the exposition. We've moved from the tonic key of C major to the dominant key of G major. So when we reach this development section, we're already in a kind of slightly unusual, not so comfortable home key. We've moved somewhere else, and in that development section that's only going to be taken further by the composer. So we'll find that development section will start in the key that we finished in at the end of our opening exposition section. Now what happens here is sort of a bit like this. We've got that nice sort of movement from tonic to dominant, but in our development section, really, there are no rules. It's sort of no holds barred, if you like, in terms of the way that the composer can meander around and develop those melodies and bring those melodies in keys that we'd never expect, maybe related keys, maybe quite distantly related keys, or even quite unrelated keys. And they'll keep playing around with it, they'll keep surprising us, showing us all the different ways and showing us their skill at manipulating these melodies. So really, there's not a lot I can say about the development section apart from go and listen to a load. You'll often find the melody developed by taking it through the circle of fifths. So that's one technique that you'll find a lot. So very common to find a melody developed through the circle of fifths, so just being modulated round and round this circle of fifths. So we go through lots and lots of different keys, and that's kind of what I mean by having this big squiggly line. And there's other techniques that might involve taking a very small snippet of one of the subject melodies and really playing around with that. That might involve some kind of rhythmic development, so you're changing the rhythm slightly of that opening the melody or a part of the opening melody. Or you might start to do some melodic development, which is where you take the melody and you might shorten it, lengthen it, change the different sort of characteristics that it has. So lots of interesting things happen in this development section. But like all good things, this development section must come to an end. And as I said at the beginning, our sonata form movement is essentially in three main sections. So we need to get to this other bit. So we've got the exposition over here. This is our development section. And we have this final section called the recapitulation, which we're going to talk about in the next video. But the important thing to note is that this is a really important arrival point here, this double bar, where we go from the end of our development section into the beginning of our recapitulation, because we hear these opening subject melodies again in their kind of original form to complete the piece. So we heard them at the beginning and we're going to hear them at the end. And the main thing is that we hear these melodies in their original key. So after having taken this long meandering journey, often through lots of different keys, we need to somehow get the music back to the piece's opening tonic key so that we can really enjoy the arrival, having gone on this long, crazy journey around lots of different keys. We can enjoy that arrival of coming back to the tonic key at the start of the third and final section of the sonata form movement. And that's what we'll have a look at next. We'll have a look at that section known as the recapitulation.